Oak Island has always been filled with mystery, secrets, and centuries of unanswered questions. For more than 200 years, people from all around the world have been fascinated by this small piece of land in Nova Scotia, Canada, believing that something extraordinary is hidden beneath its surface. Explorers, researchers, historians, and treasure hunters have spent their lives digging into its soil, hoping to uncover the truth behind one of history's most puzzling legends. And now, after 228 years of mystery, the events that unfolded in the final episode of Season 12 have taken that legend to an entirely new level. What happened during this season shocked not only the viewers, but also the entire Oak Island team themselves. It was a discovery so unexpected, so strange, and so deeply unsettling that it left everyone speechless. Right from the beginning of the season, the team led by Rick and Marty Lagina was determined to go deeper than ever before. Their focus was the garden shaft, a location that had always been considered important but had never been fully explored. It was believed that beneath the shaft lay something extraordinary, not just treasure, but possibly the key to the entire mystery of Oak Island. The team came prepared with new technologies, advanced equipment, and the experience of over a decade of digging. But even with all of that, no one could have predicted what they were about to encounter. The early part of the season saw many small but significant discoveries. As the excavation went deeper, layers of wood, stone, and iron began to emerge. These were not natural formations. It was clear they were built deliberately, piece by piece, by someone centuries ago. The deeper the team dug, the more obvious it became that Oak Island was not just hiding random objects. It was hiding a complex system, tunnels, chambers, and structures that seemed too advanced for the time they were created. Among these discoveries was an old, wooden staircase-like structure that appeared to lead into a deeper, hidden chamber. Strange symbols carved into the wood and stone added to the mystery. Rick believed these markings were a kind of map, a guide leading to whatever was hidden far below. As the team pushed further, they unearthed ancient tools, fragments of metal, and even pieces of maps created by previous explorers. Some of these documents hinted at secret tunnels that stretched across the island, connecting key locations like the garden shaft and the famous money pit. Marty was convinced that these tunnels were part of a much larger system, possibly even a network built to hide and protect something unimaginably valuable. And with each new clue, the tension grew. It was no longer a question of whether there was something down there. The question was how much deeper they had to go to find it. But the journey was anything but easy. The closer they came to the heart of the mystery, the more obstacles they faced. Government permits were a constant problem. Excavation in Oak Island requires special permission, and this season, those permissions were delayed or denied again and again. Rick had to personally visit government offices, explaining that their mission was not about treasure hunting, but about uncovering history. Still, bureaucratic barriers slowed them down. Nature, too, seemed to resist their efforts. The garden shaft is dangerously close to the sea, and water would suddenly flood the tunnels, bringing the work to a halt. Storms and heavy rains often forced the team to stop for days at a time. Even the air grew thin and suffocating the deeper they went, and old wooden supports would sometimes break without warning, putting the team's lives at risk. These dangers began to divide the team itself. Rick was determined to push forward no matter the cost. He believed they were closer than ever to solving the mystery, and that turning back now would mean wasting years of hard work. Marty, however, was deeply concerned for everyone's safety. The growing tension between the brothers became clear to everyone around them. Their arguments were not just about strategy. They reflected two very different visions of what Oak Island meant. To Rick, it was a mission to uncover the truth at any cost. To Marty, it was a project that had to be pursued carefully, even if that meant stopping short of the ultimate goal. Despite all the challenges, the team pressed on, and as the final episode approached, the atmosphere was electric. Everyone felt that something huge was about to happen. The excavation site was locked down with strict security. Cameras were set up at every angle, and the team prepared for the moment that could change history. Some members were hopeful, convinced that the centuries-old mystery was about to be solved. Others were quietly afraid, sensing that they were on the verge of uncovering something they might not be ready for. As the machines roared to life and the digging continued,
All eyes were fixed on the garden shaft. The deeper they went, the intense the anticipation became. And then suddenly, everything changed. A deep, resonant sound echoed from below. Not the sound of machinery, but something else. It was like a massive door slowly creaking open. The sound was so unexpected that the machine stopped automatically. The team stared at each other in shock. No one spoke. It felt as if the ground beneath them had come alive. Rick quickly signaled for the cameras to stop rolling. It was a decision that shocked everyone. After all, this was supposed to be the most important moment of the season. But something about that sound made him nervous. He peered into the shaft, and the look on his face said everything. He had seen something unusual, something that left him speechless. Without a word, he gestured for everyone to step back. The sun began to set, and darkness crept in. Only the dim lights of the equipment illuminated the sight. The air grew colder, heavier, and silence filled the space. It was as if Oak Island itself was holding its breath. Then it happened. A faint light began to glow from deep within the shaft. It wasn't from the machines or the workers' lamps. It was something else, something glowing on its own.
Rick's eyes widened, and he stared into the darkness as if frozen. Marty leaned forward, and his face turned pale. The rest of the team tried to see what was happening, but Rick quickly raised his hand to stop them. Whatever was down there was not meant for everyone to see, at least not yet. Slowly, he ordered everyone to leave the site. The decision stunned the team. They were on the brink of a historic discovery, and now they were being told to walk away. What happened next only deepened the mystery. Strange sounds began to echo from below. The whoosh of air, the clang of metal, and noises that no one could explain. Some team members swore it sounded like a massive door closing. Later, blurry photos and shaky video clips began circulating online. Someone had secretly recorded the scene from a distance. The footage showed dim lights, strange shadows, and what appeared to be Rick and Marty running back and forth in a panic. In one clip, a scream could be heard. In another, there was a loud metallic echo. These leaked clips exploded across social media. Fans on Reddit and Twitter began sharing them and posting theories. Some believed that the Laginas had finally discovered the legendary Templar treasure. Others suggested that an ancient tunnel system had been uncovered, one that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Oak Island. A few even claimed that the whole thing was a publicity stunt. Hashtags about Oak Island and the mysterious discovery began trending worldwide. Some people created jokes and memes, while others shared frightening theories and photoshopped images. One viewer claimed to have slowed down the footage and spotted a human-shaped figure standing deep within the shaft, a claim that sent chills down many spines. But not everyone was amused. Many fans were furious that such an important discovery was being kept secret. They argued that after following the story for so long, they had a right to know what had been found. They questioned why the cameras were turned off at the most critical moment. Some suggested that government agencies might be involved, and that the real truth was being deliberately hidden. The debate grew so intense that thousands of posts and videos appeared online in just a few days. People analyzed the leaked footage frame by frame, searching for any clue about what lay beneath the garden shaft. But no one could say for sure. The mystery deepened when reports surfaced that shortly after the discovery, government vehicles and black SUVs arrived at the site. Witnesses claimed that men in dark suits and sunglasses spoke privately with Rick and Marty. Journalists were ordered to leave, and heavy security was placed around the site. Barricades were set up, and armed guards prevented anyone from entering. To many, it no longer looked like a treasure hunt. It looked like a classified government operation. This only fueled more speculation. Why would the government get involved in a treasure excavation? Was something discovered that was more than just gold or silver? Some people believed that the discovery might be linked to ancient religious artifacts or political secrets, the kind of secrets that could shake the foundations of society if revealed. Whatever the truth was,
It was clear that the Oak Island mystery had just reached a level far beyond what anyone had expected. Even within the team, the discovery caused division. Rick believed the truth should be revealed to the world. He argued that they had dedicated their lives to uncovering this mystery, and that hiding it now would be a betrayal of everything they had worked for. He became emotional, saying that the secret of Oak Island belonged to the public, and that people deserved to know what had been found. Marty, however, felt very differently. He was angry and afraid. He believed that whatever they had found was too dangerous to expose. He warned Rick that revealing it could put not just their team, but their families in danger. The sudden involvement of government officials, he said, was proof that the situation had become bigger than any of them could handle. The days that followed were some of the strangest in Oak Island's history. For years, the island had been a place of curiosity, where tourists came to see the dig sites and fans of the show gathered to catch a glimpse of the action. But now, the atmosphere had changed completely. The once open and welcoming site was locked down. Guards stood at the entrances, and large black vehicles came and went at all hours of the night. Workers who had been part of the dig were suddenly dismissed, told to leave the island and not speak about what they had seen in the shaft. Some of them later revealed anonymously that they had been asked to sign documents promising silence. One worker said he had been threatened with legal action if he ever revealed what he had witnessed in the shaft. Another admitted that he left the island in fear, convinced that he had seen something that wasn't meant for human eyes. For Rick, this secrecy was unbearable. He had always dreamed of solving the mystery and sharing the discovery with the world. He spent sleepless nights pacing the shoreline, staring out at the dark waters, wondering how everything had spiraled so far out of his control. Friends noticed how tired and worn he looked. His voice, usually calm and thoughtful, was now heavy with frustration. He told those close to him that Oak Island no longer felt like his mission. It felt like someone else had taken it over. Marty, on the other hand, seemed strangely calm. He had meetings with government officials, and although he refused to discuss the details, it was clear that he had accepted the new situation. When Rick demanded,
In replies to these questions, Marty simply shook his head and said, "It's bigger than us." That single phrase became the center of speculation among fans. What did Marty mean by that? Bigger in what way? Did it mean the discovery was tied to national security? Did it mean the artifact was so powerful that its truth had to be kept hidden? Or did it simply mean that forces far beyond their control were now pulling the strings? Meanwhile, rumors spread faster than ever. Some believed that the team had uncovered a massive vault filled with gold. Others claimed it was the lost treasure of the Knights Templar, hidden centuries ago to protect sacred relics. More dramatic theories suggested the Ark of the Covenant, or documents that could rewrite the history of Christianity. The glowing light reported from the shaft only added fuel to these ideas. People began to ask, what could possibly glow like that underground? Was it some kind of ancient technology, a natural phenomenon, or something that defied explanation altogether? The strangest rumors came from those who lived near the island. A few claimed that at night they saw beams of light shooting up from the shaft, as if something beneath the ground was trying to break free. Others reported hearing strange humming sounds, vibrations that shook their homes even from miles away. Fishermen swore that their compasses spun wildly when they sailed too close to the island, and their radios picked up static filled with voices speaking in languages they didn't recognize. These claims could not be proven, but they spread quickly, feeding the idea that whatever lay beneath Oak Island was not ordinary treasure. Back on the island, tensions between Rick and Marty reached a breaking point. In one private meeting, Rick accused Marty of betraying their dream, of siding with the government instead of with the team. His voice cracked with anger as he asked his brother why they had started this journey if they were just going to hide the truth at the very end. Marty, visibly shaken but firm, told Rick that his loyalty was not to the dream, but to the people he loved. He warned that revealing the discovery could bring danger to everyone involved. He asked Rick to think of their families, of the lives that could be ruined if they crossed the wrong line. For a moment, the two brothers stood in silence, staring at each other, neither willing to back down. It was perhaps the most emotional confrontation of their entire journey. Despite the lockdown, not everything could be hidden. Leaked documents began appearing online. Maps, handwritten notes, and even photos supposedly taken from within the garden shaft. One blurry image showed what looked like a massive stone chamber, with walls carved in geometric patterns. Another showed an object that resembled a chest or a sarcophagus, glowing faintly in the dark. No one knew whether these leaks were genuine or clever fakes, but they caused an uproar nonetheless. Historians debated their authenticity, scientists tried to analyze the glow, and fans argued endlessly in forums and comment sections. The pressure on the Laginas grew unbearable. On one side, government officials demanded silence and secrecy. On the other side, fans and historians demanded answers and truth. Rick found himself caught in the middle, torn between obedience and defiance. At times, he seemed ready to walk away from it all, to release the secret no matter the consequences. At other times, he appeared defeated, as if the weight of centuries had finally crushed his spirit. Then came the night that changed everything. Witnesses later said that strange lights were seen again above the garden shaft. Unlike before, these lights were brighter, almost blinding. They pulsed in rhythmic patterns as if signaling something. The guards tried to chase away onlookers, but not before several people recorded short clips on their phones. In those clips, the lights seemed to rise and fall like a heartbeat. The ground rumbled and a deep, low hum echoed across the island. For those who saw it, the event felt less like a discovery and more like a warning. The next morning, the island was completely sealed. Helicopters flew overhead, patrol boats circled the shoreline, and the few workers who remained were escorted off. Rick and Marty were taken to a private meeting. No one knows for sure what was said inside, but when they emerged, their faces told a clear story. Rick looked devastated, while Marty looked grimly resolved. From that moment on, the brothers stopped discussing the garden shaft altogether. Whenever asked, they gave vague answers or simply changed the subject. But the silence only deepened the mystery. Viewers around the world demanded to know what had been found. The final episode ended abruptly, with no explanation, no grand reveal, only a quiet montage of the team standing by the shoreline, staring out into the sea as the credits rolled. It was perhaps the most shocking ending the show had ever delivered. Fans were left stunned, frustrated, and full of questions. What had really been uncovered? Why was it hidden? And most of all, why did the Laginas, after years of chasing the truth, suddenly choose silence? When the final episode aired and no answers were given, the world erupted in speculation. Social media platforms lit up with endless discussions, and forums dedicated to Oak Island were flooded with theories. Some fans felt betrayed, convinced that the Laginas had discovered something extraordinary, but had chosen to keep it hidden. Others defended them, arguing that the decision had been forced upon the brothers by powerful forces beyond their control. The divide was sharp, but one thing was certain. Oak Island had never been more talked about. The silence itself became the loudest story of all. Historians weighed in as well, each offering their own interpretation of what might lie beneath the garden shaft. Some believed that the chamber contained priceless artifacts from the Templar, evidence of voyages to the New World long before Columbus. Others suggested it could hold manuscripts or scrolls that would rewrite the story of Christianity, documents so explosive that the church and world governments would stop at nothing to keep them hidden. A smaller but passionate group argued that the glow and strange vibrations pointed to something not of this world,
a relic of lost technology, or even extraterrestrial origin. The media, hungry for answers, began sending reporters to Nova Scotia. Helicopters flew overhead, snapping photos of the sealed island, while journalists knocked on the doors of locals, hoping for a comment. Residents of the nearby towns found themselves caught in the whirlwind. Many said they were tired of the secrecy, that the truth should be revealed once and for all. A few, however, seemed nervous, warning that the island had always been cursed, and that those who dig too deep often pay the price. Their words only added to the aura of fear surrounding the mystery. Rick, in particular, became the subject of countless reports,